Hi everybody, a diagram that confuses the life out of many students. It's a tricky one, the impact of a trade quota and how diagrammatically that changes domestic consumption, production and the level of imports. How do you construct this diagram? Well, we start with the price on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. We then draw our domestic supply and our domestic demand. We show what's happening when there is free trade at price PW with supply of the world drawn like that, as we're used to. We then show domestic production at Q1 and domestic consumption at Q2, with the difference between Q1 and Q2 being satisfied by imports. Now the government decides to impose a trade quota restricting the level of imports. Right, you know what's going to happen. The level of imports is going to be squeezed. You also know that because there's going to be pressure on domestic suppliers to produce the excess demand still, given that imports are squeezed and restricted, the price is going to go up. So the way to construct this diagram is to pick a quantity towards Q1, so in that kind of range, towards Q1, where you can go up and across and draw your new supply curve where new firms enter the market, which can be parallel to the current supply curve. Alright, so this is tricky, and it requires you to look at your diagram and to pick a quantity where you can go up and across, whereby connecting the dots will give you a parallel shift. Alright, so on my diagram, where is that going to be? It's going to be around here. And then you can label that supply D plus quota. You see what I did there? I picked a quantity, I'm going to call it Q3 now. And that tells you the restriction on imports. So imports are now squeezed. Right? So this is the quota right here. The difference between Q1 and Q3 is the quota. But you see how I went up and across, and then by connecting the two dots, I managed to get a parallel shift. That's the way to construct it, okay? Don't worry about the understanding. If you want the understanding, go and watch my previous video on trade quota. This is just telling you how to construct it. And lots of students mess that part up, but that's important because the whole line here should correspond to the new price, which we're going to call PW plus Q. If you don't follow my technique, you're going to mess it up somehow. The price will not equate to where the new supply curve cuts demand. Everything will mess up, so you just got to make sure you pick a quantity where you can go up and across and join the dots to get a beautiful parallel shift of supply to the right. Alright. The next thing to do is now bring on what's happening to domestic consumption, which is reducing with this higher price. Lastly, before we finish, we want to show the impact in terms of efficiencies. So because of the higher price, this right-hand triangle is a deadweight loss of consumer surplus, and the blue triangle next to it here is a deadweight loss of efficiency. Specifically, it's domestic producers producing extra units where they're inefficient at doing so. Alright, so that's everything you need on the diagram. As a result of the quota, what have we shown? We have shown how the level of imports has reduced from Q1, Q2 to now only Q1, Q3. So a big fall in imports, lovely. We've shown how domestic production has increased from just Q1 to now up to Q1, but also Q3, Q4 units are being supplied by domestic producers. We've also shown the fall in domestic consumption. So all the key things we need to show, we have shown. As a result of the higher price, which we should make clear by drawing this arrow, we've shown the loss of consumer surplus. And as a result of domestic producers now producing these extra units where they are not efficient, we've shown the loss of efficiency as a result of that. So let's go to our checklist. Have we labelled our axis? Yes, we have. Have we labelled all of our curves? Yes, we have. Have we labelled our equilibrium? Yes, we have. Lovely. So tick, tick, tick. Have we shown what's happening to domestic production? Yeah. We've shown the extra domestic production with this quota. Have we shown the fall in domestic consumption? Yeah. Have we shown the squeeze of imports because of the quota? Yes, we have. Lovely. The other thing, technicality to make sure you get right, is when you draw the new supply curve, it must start from the quota. Alright, so new supplies come in from quantity Q3. That's where they come in, because beyond that is what needs supply. So do not let the supply curve go below that. It must start from Q3 on my diagram. Okay? This one requires practice, so follow my construction, follow my little chain and my technique here, and you'll be rocking when it comes to drawing this diagram, and you'll look like a right pro when it comes to showing off in front of your teacher. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I appreciate your support as always. I will see you in the next video. Thank you.